Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the weekly news in review for October 23rd, 2022. We've got some reveals from good old TFCon Chicago, some bigger than others, and some smashing news. Super7 apparently is going to be getting into the Star Trek game and making probably the best Star Trek figures ever made. Who knows? Got a few things to talk about when it comes to Masters of the Universe, and this set, or both of these figures, the Battle Cat and the Heman. The Heman's getting reissued. These are some expensive figures coming up. We got an update on the His Tank Cobra Commander with the Mickey Mouse on him, and I gotta say, it looks good. We'll talk a little more about that. And there's some Star Wars news, and I guess it's decent news. It's actually not really that bad. We'll talk about this and more coming up. Starting out with what is new at ShowZ, and we've got 3 of these different KFC Junkions coming into stock right now and going on sale for $102.99. So that's a pretty good deal overall. Got arrival notice, 8% off. Don't know how long it's going to last, but pretty good. If you're in on these, this is the best price I've seen in a while, and it's right up front. They're not waiting a long time. They're discounting them immediately, probably because there's so many different variations and all that kind of stuff. They just want to get them pushed out and sell them. Take advantage of these sales. Also on sale for $110 is Dreamstar Toys, the DST01001, the Sling Shoot, in their version of Sling Shot, which is stylized. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good overall. It's pretty solid. And then something just, I have no idea what this is, but it says it's a Mythrol Action 1/10 scale, number 1 Warrior Guardian of the Horde, and it looks really cool. It looks like something you might see probably with Mythic Legions or something along those lines, but it is going to be about 8 inches tall, includes a figurehead sculpt with helmet, with a bone helmet, chest strap, shoulder armor, necklace, a pair of tribal arm guards, tribal waistband, pair of knee pads, leg guards, boots, savage bone battle axe. It's got a lot of stuff with it, but I don't know the price yet. A bunch of hands and a shield. No price yet, $1 down. So if you follow I usually start out talking about Masterpiece and I go into Legends and I go into Mainline, but the fact that we've got this TFCon third-party panel, so I'm just going to kind of go through it and chronologically and talk about all this kind of stuff because it's much easier to stay on track. And so anyway, Half Battle Toys coming out with their minifigures, and so the thing about these, they're really small. They are about the size of what we got with X-Transbots, the ones they threw in for free with Tesla, or well, not Tesla, whatever they called their Perceptor. But this is Nice Guy here. Now, I'm not going to show all of them, so I'm just going to kind of show 1 or 2 close-ups and then show the whole group because we'd be here all day looking at them. But these are Nano Bots, and they're really small, between 10 and 14 points of articulation and all that kind of stuff. 22 millimeters. We're going to see exactly, like, they fit on your fingertip. They're really small. Here's the Optimus Prime. This one does have the full 14 points of articulation. Height, 39 millimeters. You want to do the math on that, but they do look pretty good being how small they are. And if you already have some, like the X-Transbots ones, I'm not sure how well painted they'll be. I don't know if they'll look as good, but they have articulation, so they're pretty good in that respect. And again, I don't have the price just yet, and we've known about these for a while. We're going to get into the first project they unveiled 3 years ago that's still not out yet, but it should be coming soon. Here's the Soundwave. Now, this one has the full 14 points of articulation and looks pretty good. I mean, I'm throwing out some of my favorite characters. I call them Soundbox. And then here's 14 points of articulation on this one here. So they call this one Snapshot, and it's Reflector, and looks pretty good overall. Look at the toe articulation on this. Now, none of these do transform, so understand that. They're just tiny little nanobots, and kind of like the additional add-in stuff that gets tossed in. You're buying these only. It's pretty good. Now, Half Battle Toys is a US-based company, in my understanding, so they are being officially licensed and all that kind of stuff to make something, and they're trying to do something that isn't made by anyone else, technically, isn't licensed by anyone else. Here's all the baddies, the bad guys that are in this, and nice looking shot. This would make for a nice display, and what reasons would you want to use this for? Well, people are saying possibly that you could put it in these this new Jetfire we're going to look at here in a bit, or possibly with your Unicron, or to make your city bots look bigger, those kinds of things. There's a lot of reasons why you'd want these. And then here's the size of it on your fingertips, little tiny little guy. right there, and so that looks right in line with the scale we got from X-Transbots. This is what Half Battle Toys was known for me, but we still don't have it yet. It's a transforming Soundwave to a His tank, and now I'm not sure what held them up and why they haven't put this out yet, but there it is. You get tiny little figures to go with it, so still don't have a prototype, so curious about that. So another company, Metagate, we've seen a few things they've done in the past, but these are going to be some smaller versions of Bumblebee Movie, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee. So 7.5 centimeters. Somebody said these are Legend scale, so you can kind of see how they look as Legend scale Bumblebee Movie figures if you want to go that route. If that is your flavor of Transformers, then they're doing it for you. And we've got this here from Transform and Roll Out. Now, Transform and Roll Out, if you don't know about that company, they have made a Jazz back in the day, and it was sort of okay. Probably not the greatest. It didn't really make any real ripples in the third-party community. Seemed like one day it came out, people talked about it, nobody ever talked about it again, so that's kind of strange. This one is the TRO2 Commander of Stars, and it's going to be an Optimus Prime, I think Armada. I mean, I kind of get some of those confused in there, but with this one, another Optimus Prime. Does look good, though. It does look really good, and I believe that there were really no QC issues, no problems with their Jazz they made. Getting into X-Transbots. Now, so I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing here. Now, we know X-Transbots. We know that it may be a ridiculous transformation, all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, looks super, super G1, looks super like what we'd want, right? So, this is the first one. They call it Big Load, and I believe this is the Long Haul and all that kind of stuff. He looks good. He looks very G1. I'm a little curious why they allowed the side pieces to kind of still protrude so far. Just seems like something that they would have taken care of. They would have fixed that or done something for that. But I believe that, here's my belief, that the bot mode looks good. It looks good. It could look a little better if they would have kind of cleaned up the side pieces there. But at the end of the day, if the combined mode is super solid because of it, that might be why it's like this. So here's the alt modes, and they look like actual real construction vehicles. They look so good. And that's one thing about X-Transbots. They do really good sculpts in both modes, and now trying to tackle a combiner again, I guess their third combiner, then there it goes. Here's what it looks like starting to combine, and I gotta tell you, I am highly impressed with how this looks so far. And I gotta tell you, this would be my Devastator. Sorry, Toy World. Sorry, Constructor, but I'll be trading you up for this, definitely. And I think this one is as tall, if not a little taller, than Constructor. So I might be wrong on that one, but it doesn't look good, and I hope it holds up. I mean, I really do. I hope it has the hardware to hold up. I hope it can stand on its own, and it doesn't have stability issues. I just hope it's so good. I have high hopes for it. Problem with me, if I have high hopes, I usually get let down. Okay, we're jumping to Magic Square, so it does bounce around in this third-party panel, but this is the Magic Square's version of Skyfire, Jetfire, whichever you want to call it, and I missed out, or maybe skipped out on the first one that came from New Age, because I was waiting for this, and I probably will still pick up the New Age, the one that looks like Jetfire. But with this, I mean, times are hard, so you can't just go out buying three $80 to $120 figures. So I think this is going to be my one, though. It looks that good. It looks really that good. And one thing about this, the difference between this one and, say, like the New Age, this one's stockier and wider. It's a bigger, beefier kind of figure, and that's pretty much along the whole line of Magic Square. Here's how it stacks up next to... I'm not sure if that Prime is... I think that Prime is David. I think. I might be wrong. But next to what I mean, Magic Square wouldn't put out a New Age, so that's got to be their 2.0 recolor, I guess. So I don't really know. But on the right, I know that is their Megatron, and so that's how he stacks up. Looks pretty good. The Megatron still looks fantastic. We need that in Masterpiece. Here's the alt mode, and I just chose to show one picture, and the picture with these opening canopies. It's dual opening canopy cockpits. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome. You know, at the end of the day, I really kind of want to see which one's better, though, between this one and New Age. They both look great. I don't think you can really go wrong with either option, though. They both look that good. Okay, starting to get into Fan Toys. I think Fan Toys, more or less, did dominate this whole TFCon, and they didn't even put much out. It's very light with the Fans Toys, but they dominated. So we're seeing what's going to happen with their the Superion. I forgot what they call it, but the last two limbs are going to be coming out, and it shows how it's going to look combined. And this does look like a prototype, which still sort of confuses me. And they only show the color in with the two figures on the legs. I'm starting to wonder about this in a way. Is this a really good render, or is this an actual physical prototype? If it's a physical prototype, though, then this is the first time we've seen a physical prototype from Fantasy Toys on any combiner. And then people saying, hey, where's Bandit? We don't know yet, but let them at least finish one. You know, let's get this one done sometime later this year or sometime later next year. Who knows? So here's the thing about this stand. The alt mode stand is the combining parts turn into a stand, kind of like they're copying that Blitzwave Ultron, where the Lions have a stand, but this is, of course, the combining parts, which is ingenious and actually pretty awesome. Of course, what's it take a full hour to get from combined to this? 2 hours? Who knows how long it would take, start to finish, to go from combined mode, broken down to this. I don't know. It'd be pretty interesting to see. But it is smart, it's a good idea, and is it worth the wait? I don't know. Depends on all y'all. I'm not really too worried about the long wait myself, because I do have a Zeta on the shelf, but it's about time, right? One thing you have to admit, though, is it does look fantastic. I mean, just every picture in here, it looks fantastic, just outstanding. So, and the end result should have always been the combined mode for any combiner. Any combiner, the combined mode has to be the best, in my opinion. It shows the options to have like a closed mask, and so one is more toy, one is more tune. I think that's the whole point here at the end of the day, but either option does look good, and options are great. And then we get into the fantastic model. So here we are with a fourth Fantasy Toys name, and we had Fantasy Toys, Perfect Fusion, Robot Paradise. Now we've got Fantastic Model. And so with that, this is FMO2 Marge. Marge? The thing about this is that people are going to ask what FMO2 is. I'll tell you what FMO1 is, probably, when we get to another picture. But this is their bot blocking of X-Transbots to make an Ultra Magnus. But it looks pretty good. It looks like they're copying the whole model that we got from Magic Square. But let's look at these head sculpts. They look fantastic. This looks fantastic. The head sculpts look great. I am kind of surprised that they weren't able to get the more narrow look on the legs, but they didn't. They're just a little bit stocky. And to have the add-on parts, it's really hard. It's really hard to have add-on parts and have it as slimline to look just right. But it does look good. It looks really good. And I don't know if it's going to look better than X-Transbots, but it's going to be heavier, probably. Who knows? Who knows? X-Transbots use a lot of die-cast these days. And then here, this is the money shot right here. Shows you the Optimus Prime on the inside, the white painted version variant of Optimus Prime. So obviously we're going to see in the future what? Optimus Prime is FMO1, probably. So when we get to that, I'll talk more about that. So these parts all come apart, and I wonder, does this form a trailer? Because they didn't show a trailer, they didn't show alt mode, but it obviously transforms and all this stuff. But this is how you should do an Ultra Magnus. It should be a Prime inside and armor. So I know Magic Square struggled with theirs. It holds good in bot mode, but not in alt mode. Here is what looks like Optimus Prime, of course, but it's the Ultra Magnus, and this tells me that they will be putting Optimus Prime out. Now, a lot of rumors have been spread around about when Fantasy Toys finally does an Optimus Prime, then that and Megatron will be their swan song. They'll make Optimus Prime, Megatron, and call it a day. Maybe they won't put more designs out or something. That's been the rumor for years, that was the last two figures they'll put out, meaning that maybe they put this out, but we don't see the Prime for another 6, 8, 10 years. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of questions. Of course, I did make a Friday video. It would have been nice to have this information on my Friday video, but I didn't. So here we go with the back of it. Looks clean. Just like every one of the Fantasy Toys releases, it looks clean. It looks spot on like it should. And, you know, this is a grayscale looking this good. Just imagine what it's going to look like when it has some color to it. So, but here's the articulation. And then some people are saying we didn't see the alt mode, so it doesn't transform. But you can obviously see with the leg. You can see with several areas in there. The shoulder, the arms, everything. You can see it does definitely transform. This is not a non-transforming Transformer. This is a true full-on Fans Toys Transformer, but of course it has the name of Fantastic Model. Sliding over to New Age, real quick, they do have some of their figures that they're reissuing with just kind of a worn wash, a deco on them. So if you're in on them, if you missed them out the first time, you get these. Maybe if you want to, here's the alt modes of the worn wash deco. I think it looks pretty good overall. You got Herbie and Vanishing Point, and there we go. Of course, you got to put out your Optimus Prime and your Megatron yet again, like Memnon and David, and so it does look pretty good. This is like one of those high-end kind of paint jobs that they're giving it with battle damage and worn and all that kind of stuff. If this is what you're in for, I'm not in on any of these myself, but I know people that like this type of paint job, so they'd be really excited for it. And I know people that might have missed out on it in the past or skipped on it in the past and are thinking about picking them up, so here's another shot. Also, they want to get in on the good old toy coloration with toy coloration of their version of Ultra Magnus. So lots of Ultra Magnus love today at TFCon. Also another clear Ultra Magnus. Thought we already got this, but maybe I'm wrong. So I think the last clear Ultra Magnus had a solid color figure on the inside. This is going to be clear all the way through. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's how it's different. So we got some stuff from Fans Hobby here. So we have this MB06E and the MB11E, and this is a TFCon exclusive, I believe. So here goes all armored up and all this kind of stuff. So you can kind of see how it looks. And so they've made this one before. It's just more or less the recolor, but it looks good. It's pretty cool. And it's one of those that either you can only get it at TFCon. Some of the third-party distributors will probably carry it also if you want to get on this. Then they also have this NB-15A Ultra Naval Commander. And so there it is. It's another, I believe it's a recolor also. They've already had this one out. This will be out coming in December. I do kind of like how they're pretty confident. Like, we're going to have this in December, guys. We'll know when it's out. And then we have MB-17A, the Ultra Mega Tyranno, coming in 2023. So this is, of course, Megatron and Armada Megatron, but a different coloration of them. So I don't know 100% why it's this color, but again, it's a different variation, and options are good. So getting into MMC. So now I'm a little torn because I'm starting to like the MMC set more than X-Transbots. I don't know. So I haven't really gone further with the X-Transbots ones yet. I do have some stuff pre-ordered, but I might switch to this. But it's going to be smaller. So I don't like smaller. I want them all to be the right size. That's why I'm torn. Really wish there was some way that these could be taller, but and fit in with the rest of them. But I think this is going to be a smoother, cleaner set overall, simply just because of the way they're doing it. But again, I'm great set MMC. MMC's doing a pretty good job. Just like to see when this is done and how it works out and all that. Here's MMC with their mercenary. Is this their double dealer, I believe? So bot mode looking pretty good overall, and yeah, they do great work. MMC is one of the top third-party companies that's out there. Here shows kind of an alt mode all the way around, and kind of what you get with this power. Is it Power Master in it? Yeah, Power Master. Here's one alt mode here, and shows a little Power Master turning into a bat and all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool overall. Looks pretty good. And then we get into their cassettes. Now, one of those cassettes, this is High Fidelity Tempo. This one should be coming out first, and then they're going to have an exclusive for the con. This guy here, it's a slightly different repaint, I believe. So you're going to see a lot of people get their hands on it. Does look really good. I think this is the bigger cassette. It's a full cassette size, not a micro cassette, and it's what I think most people are looking at for their cassettes, for their shelf there. Here we go with showing a full-on transformation, more or less, and that's pretty cool. I like those kind of pictures. Then it kind of leads into getting eject and rewind down the road, and so definitely on course. I mean, it's been years since we first saw these get revealed, and it was a TFCon. And in other news, a RoboSen is coming out with a smaller version of their Transforming Optimus Prime. But see, here's the thing: the first one was $700, and I predicted, oh, they'll make a smaller one for cheaper. Well, now they're upping their bigger one to $1,000 and making the smaller one $700. So really kind of strange the way things are going. I would have thought they would have put it closer to Masterpiece. I believe it's still going to be 16 inches tall or something around those lines. So it's still too tall to fit in with your Masterpiece scale. But I would like to see this shrunk down to like 10-inch and for about $250 or something. That would make sense to me. But then again, of course, I don't know about all the technology and the servos and stuff inside there. But the original one they put out was about the size of a Masterpiece figure. So that's why we all thought it could happen. Why are they only scaling it down this little bit? I don't know. And why are they only keeping it the normal regular price? I don't know. But excited to see what happens in the future when they get it down to about 10 inches and maybe a better price. Okay, so Amazon right now has some sort of coupons that are coming in and out and going in and off, on and off their items. More or less, it looks to me like they're just applying the coupon if you add it to your cart, but I'm not really sure. I have all this stuff, so I really wasn't in on, well, I don't have Studio Series Ironhide, but I haven't gone in on any of these and clicked on them and tried them yet, but if you're in on some stuff, you might want to just poke around Amazon and see what Transformers they are putting coupons on right now. This is going on currently. This was from October 22nd, and so it should keep going, for a while. Looks like the Street Fighter was found in the wild. So the Transformers Collaborative Street Fighter 2 mashup, Optimus Prime, Ryu versus Megatron and Bison. And if you can't really tell what's going on by the packaging from the front, let's look at the back. $112.99. Pretty crazy. This is what it looks like from the back. So if you're in on this, then start looking for it. That's a pretty high price. I didn't know it was going to be that expensive. I actually thought it'd be a little bit cheaper than that, but I guess I'm a little bit naive. Let's say Tognator is starting to show up at Target. So if you want to get this yellow version of Devastator with Tonka written all over it, it's like $105, but there is a coupon on Circle. I'm not sure if it's still active, that gives you 25 off of one toy. And so you can get this for about 70, 80, 75, 80, something along those lines. So that's not really that bad of a price if you think about it. But I was a little shocked, sticker shocked about 105. But then Target always gives you those deals, and then you can sort of add on those deals or kind of combine them together and all that kind of stuff. So it's not the end of the world. For 105, you can get it a lot cheaper. Core Class Rumble is in hand. There's some in-hand images of this, and that's pretty cool. And this, I don't think this is from the U.S., so they're not showing up in the U.S. just yet. But he does look pretty cool. He is taller and not quite as stumpy as the first version, but this will fit in your Voyager figure, so it's not going... It's smaller than like the vintage cassettes with Masterpiece cassettes and all that. But it looks pretty good. I think the coloring's still a little bit off, in my opinion, but it's not bad looking overall. Let's see what it looks like when he's got his pile drivers on there. There's pile driving right there, having some fun pile driving. And I did find was it Daniel or Spike, whatever that was locally. So I went ahead and picked one up. I was pretty excited to find that. In the wild, it was pretty exciting. So anyway, I'm hoping to find this in the wild. It would kind of suck to have to pre-order this kind of stuff off the internet. It doesn't make sense to me that you'd be pre-ordering what's supposed to be $10 stuff, but now it's $12 off the internet. Okay, so we got some other in-hand pictures of... Now this is bumping back to Legends, but this is the MPH Studio MPH-02 Commander Legend Scale Optimus Prime. And so I kind of think this is a little bit on the smaller side of Legend Scale, but I do think it looks fantastic. And of course they're making another Prime. Prime. So you can see by his hand, which it looks to be a little smaller than even what New Age has done. And here it stacks up to, which I really don't know which one's which these days, but I kind of think that you see David in there somewhere and Magic Square in there somewhere, and so it is smaller than all of them so far, but it looks really good though. I mean, I wish it was a little bit bigger. So there was a roundtable discussion. I'm going to go over a few points that I think are kind of interesting, but this TFW 2005 quick little picture they put together is kind of cool. But first point, so one of the points was what's up with the Crasher figure from Walmart, and basically they said they're waiting on Walmart, so really no information there. When designing, are you designing for adults or kids? And then they said both, but kids are more into vehicles and adults are more into the characters, so balancing that is a bit of a challenge, but they still tried to do that overall. They addressed the plastic materials have not changed from War for Cybertron to now. It's still the same exact materials. If you have any problems, you contact customer service. Then they touch on Minerva. Minerva, like, when is she coming out? And they put that all on Walgreens. So I guess Minerva's going to be a Walgreens exclusive. Is that what's going on there? So core Dinobots, what's the challenge, and the 6th. The reason they made the 6th version of Dinobot so they can still do a combiner, and one's not bigger than the others. That's why there's 6. There was a question about doing more GoBots, kind of like the Crasher. They said that there are issues with Japanese connections. They have to be very aware of that going forward, but they do intend to do more, possibly. They said open box versus closed box. The reason why these have open boxes on them and they're not closed, they do say that the kids like the open boxes, or is a preference of children, which does make sense. It is pretty cool that they're doing like that. And some of the other lines that have just closed boxes entirely, there's pluses and minuses to both. So there's question about whether or not they're going to make a Cosmos full case, so we'll see what goes on with that. Getting into some Masters of the Universe news, we've got some packaging of the Origins, Snake Armor, He-Man, and Cobra Con. So that's what they're going to look like in the packaging. I think this is something that's fans are really excited for, but we'll see based on sales how many fans are really excited for this. So Mattel Creations they now have it up for order, the Virgil Abloh's new canvas of Revelations figures. So basically just repainting some Revelations figures looking like this, and gold and chocolate look is the way it looks to me. And it's pretty interesting. I kind of like the Battle Cat the most out of all of it, but they are kind of pricey. I mean, some of them are like $75 each or something along those lines. They're just check Mattel Creations for pricing and all that kind of stuff if you're into this. I'm not really into it because of the fact that I kind of like the animation style the best, but people that are super into MOTU and this is all they collect will be all over this. So Mono Battle Cat is going up for pre-order in a 1/6 scale timed release beginning at 12 p.m. on the 25th until 11/1. So 2 per customer, expected to ship in spring of 2023. 2 per customer. You can only order 2 and they're $500 each. And so you got an 18-inch long Battle Cat for $500, and people are saying that Eternia is overpriced. I mean, that's crazy. It does look phenomenal. It looks fantastic. I don't have a negative thing to say about it. It's just I just still can't get my mind around the 1/6 scale pricing and all this stuff, and a lot of it has to do with lower production. That's really, in my opinion, the way it goes. But they're also going to be putting that He-Man back up for sale too. I don't know if it's going to happen on that day or during that time frame, and I don't know the price on it, but I do know he's going to be coming back in. But 18-inch long Battle Cat if you're in on it. And while we're talking about He-Man, Eternia is continuing to climb in backers, but very slowly. So once the initial 1 week was over and the ability to get that free figure for King Grayskull, then the backers that are piling on now have slowed. Now this happens with every campaign. There's nothing really to drive momentum, so it doesn't go forward very fast. But at the end, the last few days, this jumps way up. Now, we know that we already unlocked the Boat Monster. We've got the Keklar coming at 10,000, and then there's rumor of a 12,000 female. So finding out about all of this, we'll see what happens going forward. Still pretty exciting. Still blows my mind that this is even getting made. And yeah, there's a lot of haters that kind of hate this, and everybody that speaks out against this either does not like this playset at all, or has no space for it. So it's like almost everyone that is negative on this doesn't like it. So the people that like it, back it. It's pretty simple. So we got a teaser image from Super 7 about Star Trek. This is Jean-Luc Picard as Locutus, and this was when the Borg took him over, and he was part of the Borg for a while, and then of course he was freed from the Borg and all that kind of stuff. Spoiler. Now, I don't know why they started with Locutus, but maybe that's just Brian Flynn's favorite part or aspect of it. Now, Next Generation is my favorite, by the way, of Star Trek, and I might be in on them, I might not, I don't know. I mean, I'm spread too thin the way it is, and I'm not sure why they're starting this right now, and starting with Locutus, like, it's strange. I don't know how deep they're going to go and all this kind of stuff, but interesting little teaser. And we got an update picture of, well, several pictures. I'm just going to show this one here of the Cobra Commander for the HISS tank for classified. And so the thing about this is that it looks really good, and this is what we should have gotten as Cobra Commander in the first place. Now, a lot of people were concerned about the helmet, but it looks like it appears to have some sort of shininess to it, either that or there's blobs of paint that are messed up. Who knows? I would like to see a super shiny one, but you know, we can make it shiny ourselves nowadays. Would have been nice to have an extra head so we could practice the shiny, you know, like a stripe and no stripe maybe. But overall looks good. This is fantastic. Wish this would have been the first version of Cobra Commander, but you know that's not the way it went. So I do look forward to this, and I think down the road we'll get a full-on retail release. But this is the special retro one packed with his tank. Now it's like just putting out their Johnny Lawrence again for Cobra Kai. This one with the Eagle Fang shirt. Now, I'm not sure if I'd be in on this or interested in this, but it is still kind of cool that they're putting it out. Now, it was kind of fun to get Cobra Kai figures or Karate Kid figures and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it does kind of seem like that whole fad has passed. Am I wrong? Is it come and gone? Am I wrong? And in Star Wars news, there is the Walgreens exclusive Black Series 187th Battalion Clone Trooper, now available for, I guess, pre-order or order or something. But I guess you got to go straight to the Walgreens site. This is so silly. Like, this should be in the stores and driving you to go to the stores to buy more stuff while you're at Walgreens. And this did. It actually did. Because it was like, oh, if you just spent $2 more, you get a coupon for 7 off your next order and this kind of stuff. But that's not going to work if you're just going to be going online to buy it. And another thing, it sucks, they charge you for shipping, so they don't let you buy a whole lot of them. You just buy maybe 1, maybe 2, and they might not have 2 in stock. Gentle Giant is making the at least 12-inch scale version of Ahsoka, which is based off, okay, this is where it gets kind of crazy. So they were making the bigger figures based on the original Kenner. Now they're making Retro Collection. This is based on, I guess, Retro Collection? I don't know. It's interesting, but we got a big Ahsoka from Gentle Giant coming if you're in on this. So they're going to be putting out a Vintage Collection speeder bike with the Scout Trooper for $44.99. That's the rumor on the street, and I bet you the box looks just like this. I mean, that's the way it goes these days. Now I've got one of the Toys R Us exclusive ones, which looks fantastic, and it's presented well, but I always wished it had Vintage Collection box, but now be careful what I wish for. It's going to get Vintage Collection box, and it's going to be. The original one was a closed box, though. The Vintage one in 1983, it was closed box. And we've got the latest Retro Collection. So, here's the strange thing. When it comes to Return of the Return of the Jedi figures are always cheaper than other iterations of those figures. So, all the Return of the Jedis are much cheaper than the other counterparts. And so, with that, if you collect vintage, a lot of times the Retro Collection was, I'll sub this out. Instead of buying a $300 or $700 or $1,000 vintage figure, I'll plug in this $10 retro figure. Well, now I'll plug a $12 retro figure for a $25 vintage figure. But they still all look pretty good overall. I'll probably pick them up because I have very little self-control, but they look good. And these will be a widespread release. A lot of people were thinking this was going to be a Pulse only. And nope, it's not Pulse only. It's going to be everywhere, I believe. So I hope so, and I hope we can kind of get discounts here and there and that kind of stuff. A lot of this stuff is going to clearance. Hope this is one of them. What do you think about this week's weekly news in review? What else is going on out there that I missed? What other good stuff do I not find? And I'd like to know. But what else did you get out of this? What do you like in the comments below? What are you looking forward to from all of this great stuff this week? Like, subscribe to Dare Hanger out.